it is. I'm really hungry. I forced myself to go live. I'm making food and coffee. Oh, right. Have to start my server before I open localhost. I really wish on this page I had some sort of like screensaver thing going. I mean, I intend to make the castle, and that can be there. I could just have it rotating, maybe doing like a constant flyover, that type of thing. Alright. Maybe convert an MC Escher painting into a thing. Let me get some food. And some coffee. Lots of coffee. I'm rolling in slowly. I also have to bring my coffee and my water up here. Okay. So what we're doing, now that I'm actually here, is we are going to sit down and do these steps right here. We're going to first check whether to spawn the sides. Then we're going to spawn the sides. Then we're going to position them every time. The second point is, while coding this, we're going to do the normal. So this is a programming thing. We are going to code the block placement first, and then go back and use that code for the rollover mesh spread. You hush. I'm allowed to do this. Okay. That being said, I haven't eaten anything today. I'm not in a great mood, but we will make this work. Let me actually open chat. I mean, the point of this stream is not to entertain you guys. Bad Moon is bad. Oh. No way. Son of a fucking... Okay. So... let's go sit down and do the block placement. I'm going to need to go back at some point. So I'm doing it for an individual block right now. I'm going to have to figure out how to do it in a loop for a group of blocks all at once. Okay. No need to entertain. All I ask is to keep your pants high. Fair enough. I'll try. Probably have to stand up facing the camera in order to solve that. Before we do that, though, stream plan. Organize the code. We're doing that first. This is for a project called All Chess, which is going to allow people to build chessboards and chess-like games in 3D space. Yeah. All right. let's organize the code first. I know it's so much that's going to just not be great. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm actually going to, at the very top of all this, put in comments for the organization order for each individual item. I believe there was 6. And then we're going to slowly move stuff into those spots to make my life easier. Right, I had posted it in general. Yeah. So includes from the library, the light mode code, oh, I have to put the light mode code after the class and variable establishment. Okay. Class establishment, variable establishment, the light mode code, runtime functions and ordering, and then all of the functions. This one, obviously, class establishment, or no, includes from the library. Cool. This part, these are all variables, but these are specifically the pulls from the document. Are those different from the class establishment? My only class right now is grid array. It doesn't use it at all. So the order here doesn't quite matter. I'll put these just in the variable establishment then. And that will also be this part. The funny, I'll just put it up here at the top. This grid array class goes here, and then main grid is a variable, so we will put it down here to make my life easier. This is variable establishment for the scene. Right, the piece object. That will just go right here. Because I'll have to come back and do that. Light mode code right here. And then below this, oh, I control beat on accident. Below this is where I'm going to have to start actually moving stuff around. So initialize the texture loader. This is technically a variable. So this needs to go up here. These are also variable initializations, so they also need to be put up here. Okay, so this is the weird part about the way I've done this so far. What I did is I did all of the actions I needed to do for the grid layer all at once. I just grouped them together like this. But this is a variable declaration, and this is manipulation. So I think for now, I'm going to move the variable declarations up to the variable part. Oh, I have to, yeah, standard unit 50, yeah. Plane material dot map equals baseplate texture, which is right here. Right. Because all of these are kind of variable declarations, except for this one. This is me actually moving stuff. So I'm going to copy this up, but this one with that grid layer part is going to be down in the runtime function calls and ordering. But I'll have to actually look at... This will let me divide things up better so I can actually see all of the individual things I'm doing outside of initializing variables. Should be where they are needed, close to where they are used, unless I guess they are global. These are all global variables. Everything that I've put up here is a global variable, which is a discussion in and of itself. They are global, but they are only used sometimes. And there's a, like, the other argument would be this part. Where is it? This grid layer thing should be a dedicated function. That's the other idea. But classes are usually in their own file. I have struggled significantly with JavaScript header files. I don't understand it. So I probably should do it, but it's not nearly as easy as C++, where I just go, okay, include this file, and then it works. It's like I have to do a bunch of stuff in the other file. I don't fully understand. Yeah, there's no JavaScript header files. Then what do you mean I'm supposed to put it in another file? Like, here, I'll just pull up a random thing that I did in college. Uh, 1040 homework. You just import other files. So, like, here, the classes are in driver.h and idgenerator.h, right? On this C++ code. And then inside of driver.h, it has the class, right? And you just use include and it works. I didn't have to do anything too special other than if not define driver h, and then end if. Like, I put this before and after to help when I'm doing a lot of different files. But I don't even necessarily have to do that if driver.h only was being included in one file or it was only being included in files that didn't refer to each other. So what you're saying is this grid array object that I've made, this class, should be in another file? I did import some files at the top, but those were all included in the library that I'm using. So let's go ahead and dig into the library. That would be includes, where is it? No, this is my backend code. I have to read again. I'm remembering where it is. I think it's in this. No, it's not. Oh, node modules. Right. Duh. 3. And then I'm specifically pulling from stuff in here. So like 3 add-ons, which is, I think it's in the examples, JSM, for the pointer lock controls, pointer lock controls. Yeah, and then this is referred in my index.php, right here. Class name starting with lowercase is really triggering me. Okay. I can fix it if you want. It's not a huge deal. It's just Control F, go through, make sure every instance. In fact, I only think I called the class once so far. But every time I've tried to mess with the import map, it's upset me and confused me, frankly. Like here, when I do the CSS, part of the problem is I can just include driver.h, and I just have to name the file. And then it looks in the same directory and includes it, right? I haven't figured out how to do includes in JavaScript without an import map. And the import map is frustrating and constantly breaks. At least so far to me. So shouldn't need an import map. So you're saying I can go here, close this, and just go to 3D and make another .js file and include it directly if it's in the same folder? It's worth a shot. Coffee. Okay, so the thing is the grid object is going to be called also by the player. So the board builder will call it the the observation, like your ability to watch games, will call it, and other stuff. So I can't just call it a board builder header. I need to name it freaking game header. I mean, it's the only game here. Game hyphen header.js, just for consistency. Oh. Technically, okay, is there anything inside my grid array object that uses the 3D stuff? No, not at all. Okay, so I could just copy paste this, including the comments. I might have to do something like export, because that's something the library does, is they do the export. Why header is not a header? Sure. Game classes. Alright, now for Google searches. Do I have to export to import in JavaScript? It must be exported from that module. Okay. Export syntax. So I can export a declaration. So export class name, and then I can import it. So for this, it would be export class grid array as, I believe there was as in the syntax, or do I just put the class name? Okay, so I just export class grid array, and I should be able to import grid array. Nope. Why are you saying there's a syntax? Oh, I actually need this part. Oh, do I have to put the export here? Just before the normal class declaration? Okay. So I just export class grid array. Okay. Import grid array from game-classes.js. That should work, right? And now my class is over here. Do you want to get into voice chat? Um, I would be ready to voice chat in like 20 minutes, maybe. Well, no, I could probably do it now. Yeah, there's no reason not to. All right. I believe this will work, but I'm not sure. Why is it... What? That's not what I frickin' typed. Game classes. .js. It probably just tried to autocomplete it when I hit enter. You should have VS Code Manager imports. Try to use the grid and control space. The grid. Yeah, I didn't think so. Delete the import. Okay. There's a bunch of delay on Twitch. Here's the first call for it. I hadn't capitalized it yet. Oh. Oh. / game classes. Okay. Okay. Also, it modified this on accident. All right, so now the class establishment has been delegated to another document. All right, now the before question. This should probably just be a function. This whole thing here. But the problem is if I make it a function, all of these become defined inside of that function. Because we're talking about variable establishment and then just manipulating things in the space. So the only part of this that could actually be a function is this. All right, so we're going to do what I was saying before for now, where I move all of this stuff into the variable establishment. Up here. And then this, literally this, is the very first So I rotate X on this, and then I make the instance mesh into that. But I have to do it in this order, right? Well, I could have... So this... Here I rotate the geometry directly? Okay, so I want to reconsider this part. Choose whether spawn size, position size. Maybe I should position them first. Like rotate first. Rotate sides, position sides. Yeah, because I can work on the geometry directly to get the rotate correct. Before I even spawn the sides in. It's small, but it makes the code easier. Because rotating the object once, or the mesh once it's already spawned, is harder than just rotating the geometry. By a tiny bit. Okay. And then this is actually positioning the grid layer instances. So I don't use offset and matrix outside of this. So this definitely should be a function. There's an argument that all of this plane material, plane geometry stuff could be a function, and then it just returns plane mesh. Yeah, exactly. So I'm slightly lost in the sauce on when and how this should be all of this stuff. From here to, well, skipping light mode. From here to here. Technically, I can just group it all together like I did before. Because this segment just... This is the part that actually spawns in the floor. And it's from here to here. And I only use this stuff here. So if I make this entire thing one function, and it does scene.add plane mesh and object.push plane mesh, it makes my life easier. Okay. Okay, so all of this should just be one function. And that will help with memory as well. Okay. One grid layer. Frick. I've briefly forgotten function syntax. Hold on, let me scroll down. Yeah, function. And furthermore, because I know this works, I can collapse it. And that will make it easier to read and find stuff. You should try it to see if you broke anything. This is true. This is true. Build. I did. What'd I break? Cool. Nope. Nope. It doesn't provide an export named grid array? What the fuck you mean? Export class grid array. Does it have a .js extension? Let me look at how pointer lock controls has it set up. That's just node modules 3. Where is it? Icon st3 examples JSM controls pointer lock controls. Let's look. Import those from 3. Then export pointer lock controls. Okay. And is pointer lock controls the class? Yes. Okay. We'll just use that syntax. So that's in here. Down at the bottom. See if that worked. Nope. Standard unit is not defined. Okay. 125. Needs standard unit? Right, because I put it inside the function. Hold on. This exactly needs to not be in the function. That needs to be up here. Because that is a global variable, one I use a lot. Ta-da. Cool. That's not going to help, and then it does. Me too, bud. Maybe the earlier syntax is part of a library that a lot of people use or something. I don't know. Or we could check my JavaScript version. I figured. I was just spitballing. Okay. Spawn grid layer function now exists. Let's collapse it. So this is the part that so what I'm doing here is specifically assigning the image to each of the materials. Why is it left on both of these? Hold on. Do I not have a side bottom? Hold on. Texture material bottom. I have the soup with a beard problem. All my food just gets into my beard and my mustache. Means I have to wash my face often. I love coffee. Coffee makes everything better. This is an abusive relationship. I'm blinking twice. Oh no. I don't need this syntax or this comment anymore because light mode is kind of isolated in its own spot. That being said, though, I can probably take all of light mode. Where is it? Here. And move it into its own thing and import that too. So we're going to do that. .js. We're recreating white mode JS, and then we're just going to import it here. Because this does not need to be in my board builder code. I can make this a function and then export the function. At that point, I may as well just make it a function. Undo all that. Thanks for using your mod powers for good. Okay. So, I could probably leave this alone. It works. It's here. It's taking up 20 lines of space. It's not a huge deal. But I ended up having to move the light mode code into here because, flashbang warning, this button, I needed it to change the background as well. And I didn't want to have two event listeners for the same thing. So I just moved this 20 lines of code was its own JavaScript doc, or JavaScript file in, where is it? This one. It was one of these. Like the collapse nav and the main switch, which main switch does this stuff, and collapse nav does this stuff. And then more switch does this stuff, right? It's very small. But light mode was one of those, but I moved it into the board builder so that I could do this seamed out background. Which, to be honest, I'm not entirely happy with still. Like, if I go to light mode, it doesn't look good. Dark mode also only looks okay, you know? Like, this is manageable. But this, the contrast between the gray floor and the light frickin' void is awful. Anyways. So this is all material initialization. And this part was what I was doing before when it was a box geometry, and now these are squares. Which is why it's this, and then I rotate it once, and then I assign different materials to variables. I am less upset with food and coffee in my stomach. My mortal coil is slightly more satisfied. So all this is doing is creating these materials. And it also rotates the plane. I think I'm going to rotate the plane individually when I'm down there. So that being said, I'm removing this for now, and then I'm going to move all of this into the variables section. So that would be here. Why? Oh. It says it's declared but never read. Oh, because there's still two of them. Okay. This can be a function. Spawn light. So it makes the camera, and then when do I use the camera? Hold on. Control F camera. Yeah. Controls, pointer lock, controls, camera canvas. So this assigns the camera to the canvas and then lets you render through that. And then it also sets the controls here. So I spawn it here. What's the next one? Move camera up, right. And I am calling camera position. So camera itself needs to be global, at least for the way I've done this so far. So this part right here are variables that need to be global. But this part can be part of, okay, interesting. So I think it would be best for me to move everything up. This is just the starting position of the camera. It's not a huge deal. It also might be, okay, this is a design decision. I'm starting you 10 in the air now. Because starting above the grid with like a top-down view is more useful for what people are actually going to be doing. Because the first action most people are going to be taking is flying into the air, about 10 squares worth. So you may as well just spawn there. Wouldn't this issue that I'm having with light mode be fixed just by making this gray lighter? Or like the grid coloring less off? I'm unsure. Anyways, I'm getting into the weeds again. So all of this camera stuff I do need to be global. So I will just move it up here into this part. This one too, same thing. All of this can go at once. And then the set controls. When do I actually call set controls? Because I can just, at this point, I know that I can leave this function here and find when I call set controls and just put that up top. Let me control F. Set controls. Next one, right here. Yeah. This is one where I'm going to want to copy paste. or want to test to see if I broke something right after I do it. But in theory, I think I could just do this. And it should be more than fine. So Control F5. I can still move. Okay. Let menu open be false. Yeah. Okay. So this goes up to the controls that I declared. Where is it? Here. So it uses these controls, and then it adds an event listener to set menu open to false and do a bunch of stuff. There's got to be a way to have fewer of these global variables. It doesn't make sense that I have this many global variables. Like 2 or 3 would be fine, but I have like almost 30 already. And I know there's like another 10 to 12 below this, 10 to 15. To have fewer global variables, you need to use classes and stuff. Okay. I am probably fine for now. It's one of those things where I may have to go in and do some updating. This part of like going through and making everything actually be organized, I think is going to help a lot. I mean, look at how clean this looks. Sure, you have to scroll past all of the variable declarations from here to frickin'... I guess what I could do is I could move all of the variable declarations to a different file and import it, but then I'd have to import all from, like I did here. And then I think it might not be worth it. It would make it look cleaner, but it would still function the same way. It's probably not worth it. Alright, so here's the question. Controls add event listener, controls add event listener. I think I could do that inside of a function and not be a problem. Let's render some squares. Fair enough. I'm still like halfway through the code, frankly. I have all this still. I don't know if I can do the event listeners. Like, here's That's an idea. Let me test it. I have an idea. So that right there, showing what it should, well, kind of do, is now when I do this and I move stuff, it still kind of works. Hold on. Do I even need the resize for the canvas? Oh, it's squishing. Is it? What was it doing before? The exact same thing. In fact, it squishes worse this way. Yeah, let's put all of the event listeners into one function called event listeners. All right. Cool. That's all the add event listeners. Let's see if we broke anything. Control F5. Build. Click. Oh yeah. That's right. It is now up here. Perfect. It splits the space in half this way. Yeah. Okay. We'll come back to that. one thing at a time. So menu style display none. Advanced menu style display none. So here I am. Right, that was just part of. So I'm doing this in order to change this stuff. I could just put that here when I call the function the first time. It doesn't even really matter where I put it. Is there going to be issue with... No, there shouldn't. Move up and down is not part of the base library. True. So I had to make my own move camera up function. But that works fine already. No change. Add spaces. Raycaster and pointer. All right. And then here's the part where we actually have the squares being drawn. I'm honestly really tired. Let's get back to it, I guess. So my thought process here is I can add all of this here, and then every time I want to spawn in the square, this is what it does, right? The only issue with this is this doesn't let me rotate it before I add the geometry to the scene, unless I do some kind of switch statement with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then do a different rotation on it before I do scene.add. Interesting. There's also the thing where this exactly, let rollover mesh, might break by not being global. We'll see. So I'm specifically going to do this, add rollover square, and see if it breaks anything to put this into a function. Because I think this should break, frankly. Build. It has broken in a weird way. My controls are fucked. Yeah, rollover mesh is not... Okay, so that needs to be global. Where's light mode? There. You can make the geometry into a square and then translate the position. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I did. So this is the geometry that makes a square that is standard unit by standard unit, which is 50 units right now. It breaks at 2, but I think it would work at 4, so I could make this smaller. It doesn't change anything, really. 50 just matched mathematically to the example. But this makes it a square, and then here, if we go inside of add rollover square, I make the geometry into said square. I make the material into this opacic, half opacity green, and then I just add it to the scene. So I could add it to the scene and then rotate it, and it breaks it too. Yeah. So here, I'll show you what I mean. So what happens when it's too small is the floating point calculations that lock it to the grid round differently when the size of the grid is too small. So, yeah. It would work at 4, it breaks at 2. I just made it 50. Anyways, that changed. Let rollover material or rollover mesh should work. Also, like specifically this variable establishment function, I should do all of the lets at once when I don't have anything else they do. Yeah, so let rollover mesh should actually be up here. All right. That's not what I pressed. Cool. Any logs? No. These are event listeners. I can put them inside of event listener. spaces, a rollover guide. So what do we do now? I am still doing the part where I'm going through and organizing my code a bit. And now we're done. The code is cleaned up. And I now know it is 6 functions that are currently running to do everything, which is not bad. Okay. Okay, the code's cleaned up. Yay. Ah, fuck. So the next thing we do is we're actually looking at this add rollover square. It currently, that adds a single rollover square. But I currently do it here. What I need to be doing is I now need a function to make the default rollover box, which will just be the 6 sides from what I've done. And then I could use that for I could potentially reuse the creating that box code for placing the actual boxes on click. And once I can place one box with the rollover, but 6 squares instead of a box, and place one box without the rollover, like actually saving the position, but again 6 squares, not a whole box, then I can go through and make the code which checks if a side is there. Okay. So, new function. Function. I'm going to call it this for now, but I think I'm going to have to change the function name later. So the default way to do this would be... Well, let me look at add rollover mesh. Add rollover square. This one. Makes a material, makes a geometry. Weird. It makes a geometry, makes a material, and then it turns it into a mesh, and then it just adds it and sets its visibility to false. And then later, when I click on the add space button, it sets the visibility as there. So this box will always be there, the one that I'm pointing at. This one box will always be spawned. The way I'm currently doing this. Like, even when I load the page right now, and you don't see it, it's... What did I break? Can't access like a render loop before initialization. Oh, because I made it a const. Oh, it doesn't like that at all. It's really dying. Undo, 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 undo. Alright, so... Okay. Alright. See if it's still broken. Build. It's still broken. Why is it broken? Okay, so some of the stuff that I've done recently is just bad, apparently. $186. So up here. Oh, I see. It's because I'm not calling rollover square at all. Okay. Right. Apparently that was bad. Stop it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Alright, so now it shows it. Currently it is here, it's just not visible. So it's still in the same spot it would normally be. The function will create the geometry or the mesh. It will create the mesh if and only if fuck. So what I've done, let me fully explain this. What I've done is this add rollover box will spawn the entire box, right? But it's going to do that by spawning the individual sides with this function. So I'm going to call this usually 6 times. But when I'm doing the click and drag, it won't do it 6 times, it will do it only on the surfaces of the rectangular prism. I feel like my whole do this first and then do this next is actually slowing me down right now, and I should just do the click and drag for the whole thing and get used to the entire process. And that would be the combo of on pointer up, on pointer down, then place space. You still haven't made the square though? I've made a square. Now what? Yeah. Okay, I'll make the whole cube then. First I need to spawn this 6 times. I'm gonna have to come back to this and do it differently later, but the problem is I don't know when I spawn this how to move these. So here's my issue, and this has come up actually a few times. When I spawn these in, I'm making a new mesh, right? This new mesh, does it have an ID or something when I return it? I add it to the scene. Let's console.log it. That way I can see if there's something I can pull through. You don't need 6 messages, though I guess it will work. Hold on. Because then I can make this add rollover square return the ID and then manipulate it. Console.log rollover mesh. And we'll call this twice, just so I get 2 of them. This will run every frame, but, or not every frame. It will run once. Add spaces, yeah. There's now 2 of those. Name nothing. Let's look at this. ID 15. ID 16. So if I do specifically console.log rollover mesh dot ID, Control F5, build, add spaces, 15, 16. Okay. No ID, and by that I mean don't use IDs. I could probably help, but typing is really frustrating. I understand. Use references. Like a reference to the object. Give me a sec. So the issue is if I do references, like if I say, hey, set or let Johnny equal rollover mesh, right? There will still only be one Johnny, but I'm calling this function multiple times, so it will just keep referencing Johnny. I need different ways to reference or refer to the thing after having spawned this set of code multiple times. I'd love to explain, but Twitch chat isn't exactly ideal. Yeah, I hear ya. You want to hop in a call? I'll just listen to you speak for a bit. It will just be the TP general. It's not like we're big enough that we're going to get a ton of people crashing the party. Shoot, even top end just to restrict random passerby. Okay. I'm in top end stuff. You might want to mute the chat so that you don't get an echo. I'll have to put headphones in. Or mute me on stream. You do have permissions for that, right? I believe so. I'm not here. Oh, you're up at general. Okay. I was in top end chat. I have 0 audio from you for now. I heard audio.
Fuck's sake, why does it not work?
I can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, cool. So, one other thing. Read those JS, but I think, if I answer this correctly, mesh is like a combination of geometry and material.
Yeah. It's the geometry plus the material, both rendered in that spot. And the...
Right.
Yeah. Both of which have their own properties.
But for the box, you don't need 2 materials, right? You just need 1.
So it will have... The rollover mesh only has the 1 material, but the spaces themselves have a top material, which is the actual like chest space, and then just side and bottom materials, which show that, hey, you don't play on this side of the block.
So I guess you do need multiple meshes.
No.
Because I thought you could just push it all into one geometry, into one mesh, all the geometries. But okay, that's not a big deal. It was just sort of a side note. The point is you try to use the IDs to match them. That doesn't really make sense. It would be more useful if you just create the mesh, return it from the function, right? And then you have the reference to the mesh, so you can translate it where you want.
Ah, right. So just instead of scene.add, it would be return rollover mesh.
Exactly. And then in the function rollover box, you just
I do
call
the
it 6
scene
times,
there.
and you can translate each separately. And if you need it later for something else, you can just create an object with 6 properties, maybe. Or I don't know if it's possible to merge them into one mesh. Probably not, since they have different materials potentially. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Okay. I'm just going to test this out and then do the scene.add on each.
That's cool for testing it, but
so that also
final...
means
yeah, there's going to be a problem that you currently have global rollover mesh, and now you have 6 of them. So you will definitely need to handle it differently.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go through and do some changes. It's not a huge deal, it just takes time. So one thing that I'm going to be able to do in Three.js that makes a lot of sense is I'll be able to group these meshes together and then set the position of the group. But I have to figure out how to do that. That's going to be a Three.js question. And then that group will be a global variable. And then I'll be able to move the group around.
Yeah, just Google it very quickly. And
okay.
It works exactly as you said. It seems you just create a new 3-dot group and just put it on it. So yeah, if you Google it, should be the result.
Alright, time to temporarily break my code. Rollover group. And now let's Control F's rollover mesh. Up, 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 up. Down, 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 down. Let's just Control C this. Do I change my function names? Yeah, I think I will. And I think spread should not be its own function, so I will delete that. It doesn't have anything in it anyway. I'll just do everything inside of rollover position. That one stays.
By the way, I don't use VS Code, but I'm 100% sure that there's a way to rename all usages of a certain variable for next time. I don't know what the key shortcut is in VS Code. I can use that, but I mean, all editors have that.
Yeah, but I didn't want to rename everything because I was still using this variable name in some spots.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, then I guess that'd be a problem.
Yeah. Let me just down again. down. I believe my roommate is laughing at something his cat did. Don't know if you can hear that.
I can.
Alright, and then these stay meshes. Just once more double checking. Yeah, those stay meshes. Those are comments, these stay meshes. Perfect. Alright. So in theory, what I just did should not crash, but I won't have a square anymore, probably. Yeah. Or, nope, it has broken. Group is not defined.
Yeah, but you didn't create the group yet.
Oh, right, I didn't make it a 3-dot group. Right.
Yeah, that.
Roll over group. Roll over group equal new 3-dot group. Then I need to look at the dot group stuff in 3JS.
Are you missing parentheses?
I probably am. I'm currently looking for how group is done. Yeah, I need parentheses. All right, and then I can do group.add for each of the parts, which I will do down here. Oh, I need to scene.add the group and then group.add. Right. When should I add the group to the scene? Right at the beginning?
I mean, realistically, since
probably right here. Add rollover group. And now there should be a square there. Did it break? I can look around. I click add spaces, nothing happens. I don't have any errors. Okay. So there's probably a dot update I have to do or something. Or I was supposed to add it to the scene after I added everything to the group. It might be an ordering issue. Where is it? There. Yeah.
Hope not. But you can try it.
In the code example, they add it to the scene after they add everything to the group. These cubes can now be rotated, scaled, etc. as a group. Okay. So let's try that. Let's put it after I add things to the group. See if it shows back up.
I should. No, wait, those. Never mind.
Nope. Why? All right. Fun part. Let me go back to the render loop. And I'm just at the bottom of the render loop. I'm going to console.log the group. That way I can see if it's set to visible or not and that kind of stuff. Cool. It should be visible. It is not. All right, let's stop moving for a sec. Pop this down. Cast shadow false. Children array. It has one thing in its children. So it does have the thing I added in it. It has a matrix world needs update variable. Sometimes that has to be set to true anytime you move a group. That's just a quirk of the library. Okay.
Okay, I mean, just to debug it, couldn't you theoretically just keep the group and into the variable that's called rollover group, just assign the original square to see if that's a problem?
Yeah, the original square is inside of it.
Yeah, inside the group. I'm just saying, just assign.
Oh, like add the
Oh,
add it to
wait.
the scene as well?
Just notice you assign rollover geo as a global variable. Do you work with it? I mean, that could be a problem.
I set rollover geo as a global variable?
I mean,
Control F, rollover geo.
no. I looked wrongly.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's inside of here.
Oh no, I see. Because you used to.
I set the mesh visibility to false, so
Yeah.
even though the group is visible.
Yeah,
Oh,
the mesh
okay.
isn't. Because
Yeah.
before you reset it to true, but now you are setting true to the whole group. So.
Yeah. And I still need to set the whole group to false there, but I didn't. Okay, so that should fix it.
Probably not here, but you do need to do that.
Boom. Square's back. Alright.
Okay, cool.
That means the grouping is working.
Yep.
And it also means I now need to do...
Yeah, I mean, before you forget about it, I would move the code that set the group visible false to a different method, because or a different function, because you're going to be using this function a lot.
Yeah,
for
and,
other
and it
things.
will break.
Yeah.
So that needs to be at the start of this function. Because this function only gets called once to make the initial one. So that will be when that happens. Alright. So before we add this square, let me rotate rollover mesh 1 to be the top.
Okay.
Control F, rotate. Plane, yeah, so I take the geometry and I rotate it. Oh. Okay, so should I... That means I need to not be returning the mesh, I need to be returning the geometry. Then rotate.
I mean, surely you can rotate the mesh too, right? Like.
Yeah, probably. I'll try it. Dot rotate x negative math dot pi over 2. And that should, with everything else I'm doing, put this on top.
not on top because you're rotating. Wait, you're rotating around. So okay, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yep, it's on top of the box now.
Yeah.
Woohoo. So I'll do all the lets, all the adds, all the add to groups.
Maybe rename it to row mesh top so that you know which one is which. Because
True.
just for future row.
Yeah, future Roland
Oh.
deals with me all the time. I'm gonna make the sides just 1, 2, 3, and 4 because it's kind of hard to keep track of them, but it's not too bad.
Okay.
All right.
By the way, rename is bound to F2 in VS Code, so if you need to rename variable, you can try F2. It seems like.
All right. So what this should now have is 2 squares that will be intersecting each other. One will just be vertically, and then I'll have to slide it over and down. So let me...
Yeah, I think you might need to slide the top one too. I'm not sure, but...
The top one's in the right spot already because of some other positioning stuff I've done. But yeah, so
no,
now...
I don't think it is. Is it?
It is. It may not look like it, but that is one standard unit. It's the same as its side length away from the bottom.
Okay.
So I need to move rollover mesh 1. I don't remember how to translate it. Hold on. So that would be in 3JS geometry specifically.
No, it's just position, isn't it?
I can do position, yeah. Yeah, and in that case, I don't remember which way is which. So I could just add Z, roll over mesh dot position dot x plus equals standard unit over 2. And that should move it to where they are now a T from each other rather than intersecting. Oh, should be rollover mesh 1. Gotta be specific. Oh. Okay, so it's not X. It should have been Z. Easy fix.
Yeah, this is always, you have to always try it. It's hard to visualize.
Alright, so now I move it down 1.
Yeah, I have to question why you have to move it down though, isn't it? Is the floor 1/2 the standard unit down?
No. So I had already done a bunch of math to set the initial square on top because I was doing it based off of the box previously. So we're building off of some previous positioning code. That's why. 1 dot position dot y minus equals standard unit over 2. Haha. Okay, so I could just... I'm going to do all of them now. Now that I've guaranteed and proven that I can do this fairly easily. So let me add all of them.
Well, the last one is bottom.
Yep.
So I wonder if you really need bottom, but actually you might. Yeah, you do.
You will. You will. Because you're able to play stuff from below. And then the... there will be some parts where I have to break this up later, but it'll just be rearranging this code with a switch statement for whether or not blocks are in the way when I'm doing the part where I click and drag. So this is still valid. 2 dot rotate x. We'll do this one as math.py over 2. I'll do all of the rotates together, just for my brain. Oh, wait a sec. Am I dumb? Yes.
Yeah, I think you want to do this for the bottom one. No? You rotate it X.
Yes. So this, it's already facing here, so now I'm making the opposite side. I will also do the bottom. I'll do them in pairs of top, bottom, forward, back, left, right. That is easy to break.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, no, sorry, my bad.
And then rollover mesh 1 is already in the right spot, and then we'll do rollover. I can type. Rollover mesh 3 dot rotate.
You're really brave doing all of them at once, because if there's a problem, you're not gonna know which one is the problem.
I hear you. Rotate Z. It's currently here. I'll need to rotate Y by negative. Hold on. We're gonna skip exactly 3 and 4 for now. Because those ones are going to be harder mentally for me. Because everything else is just, I'm spinning it around the x-axis, you know? But those ones I'll have to spin around the y, so I have to do a little bit more trial and error to remember. Alright, let's... One is in... So top's in position by default. 1 is in position. Let's do roll over mesh 2 dot position dot z This will be minus equals standard unit over 2. And also the exact same y change. And then this one, the bottom, we're going to put here. Dot position dot y just minus equals standard unit. Okay, let's see how that looks. Build, click, add space. I broke something. I moved something that I had already had. Oh, this still says 1. Okay. And then it also has on that side. And if I still had the block placement function, I would be able to see the bottom. Okay, so now I just need to put 3 and 4 down. What changed is I wasn't looking at chat. Oh, I just have 4 viewers. No one's been talking. Okay, that's not. I don't feel as bad if no one had been talking to me. Now 3 and 4 have been added to the scene. Let me. So what I'm gonna do? They're currently facing this way, and they're currently intersected into the middle. So I'm just going to rotate them first, and then move them left and right. So, yeah. Three dot rotate y math dot pi over 2. Okay. I'm not going to do 4 yet, because I need to see whether this one's facing right or left. Because I know when I spawn in, on this, the positive, I believe it's the z direction, maybe it's the x. The positive x direction is on my right. Alright, so where is it? Okay. So this needs to go, the one I've already made needs to go plus equals z. Dot position dot z, or no, x plus equals, so it's literally this. And then this also needs to say 3. And then the same thing with 4, but it's minus equals. And I'll need to rotate it by negative pi over 2. Hey, look, it's a box. I've built a box out of squares. We made a box. Woohoo! Oh. One step forward, two steps back. But that's okay. Because you still make it in the end. It's not a race, it's a marathon. Okay. That felt good. Now the next thing that I'm going to do, before I even worry about placing actual squares, I'm going to do the click and drag function. So instead
What do you mean?
So you're going to be able to click, hold down, and it will spread these. It will spawn these in the rectangular prism of the square you started with to the square you went to, and it will only spawn the squares on the surface of that rectangular prism. And then when you let go, what's going to happen is it's then going to place all of these actual spaces. So it'll be this green box, and then you let go, and it has the actual thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because placing each block one by one in order to make a chess variant, no. We aren't doing that. Especially when some people are going to do absolutely ridiculous shit in this. Their games won't necessarily be playable. Some very rare ones will be, but, you know. It's more so that they can make ridiculous things and then play them with their friends that are willing to humor them, you know? And then we'll have some people actually sit down and make good chess variants. Okay. All right. So this adds the rollover box, and currently, so this is where things get weird. This part up here, this 15 lines of code that is the rollover group position function, is what locks the individual square into the thing. But it currently does it globally to the rollover group variable. And I need it to only do it for each individual one when I'm doing the click and drag. So on pointer down, if grid builder is enabled, it will save the initial position 1 mesh. Why do I have it as a whole mesh? No, we aren't doing that. It should just save initial position 1. Alright, so let's... But it's not setting initial position 1 equal to anything. Okay, so I need this to be just a vector? It's just going to be a vector. Okay. It's going to be a vector 3. Equals new 3 dot... vector 3.
Enter down, I think, is the incorrect event. Do you want on mouse down?
Oh, on pointer down is the name of the function. Let me actually see what the event listener is real quick.
Oh, okay.
One sec. Outside of
Probably
the
gonna
render.
be in function called event listeners. You
Yeah.
cleaned up the code.
The
Also, you can definitely see where function is used. Actually, that's really useful. Maybe try to right click the function. The sorry, the functions. Can you try to right click it?
it is pointer down. I am doing pointer down.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think you want one mouse down. Also, you'll probably want to
here's a
check which.
question. What's the difference? Oh, hi Goku. What is the difference between pointer down and mouse down? MDN. Oh, yeah. So it needs to be pointer down because I'm doing a click and drag. Mouse down will call it every frame if the mouse is down. But pointer down calls it only when it's pressed.
No, mouse down is definitely triggered once when you click. It's not continuously triggered.
Oh. So pointer is only the left button, and then mouse down would also work on right click? Is that what this says?
I mean, it
Mouse
says
down?
there that mouse down events fire whenever any button is pressed down, and pointer down only fire when the first button pressed. So basically, pointer down is going to work once, as far as I understand the text. So you can only place one block only.
Oh, so I'm using on pointer up to actually do the block placement. Pointer down just saves the position of the start,
Right.
and then I'm tracking the new position, right? So pointer down, click and drag, pointer up, then it will spawn everything. Because I'm updating a variable called grid builder state when the button is pressed down.
You know what? This is not really important right now. I mean, if it doesn't work, you can change it later.
Fair enough. Oh, I am going to go get more to drink. Hey, thanks for the follow, Sword Styler. I'll be right back. Okay. Hello. Am I alone in the voice chat now? That would make perfect sense. Nope, you're just muted. That's fine. Oh. So I actually, right now I need to open the pseudocode doc. And so on pointer down, it needs to set grid builder state to, let me double check, because I'm already doing this part. Where's pointer down? Let me close that. Fuck. Close that. Close that. Close that. This one. So right now I'm only letting it place when that happens, but I'm just doing the placement here. Yeah, set grid builder state to 1. Because currently grid builder state has grid builder state is set to 0. On pointer up, set grid builder state to 2, call the build, function, save current mouse position, and call the build function. With the, okay, so I need to, that's part of it. I need an input to the build function that tells it where to build. The input to the build function can just be the 2 vectors of the current position and the mouse. The current position and the saved position that I saved here. Okay, that's reasonable. So something that's happening is the rollover group position is being modified every single frame. But this happens after that, right? No, on pointer down will just happen. Okay, so sometimes it will happen before this and sometimes it'll happen after this because I currently have a race condition. That's what I've just realized.
JavaScript doesn't really have race conditions because it only has one thread. I mean, technically, there are some ways to do more threaded stuff, but by default, it's just one thread.
Yeah, it is. So I'm having a case where it's one thread, but sometimes that function is called before the other in the thread.
Yeah.
And it's based on so the render loop runs itself again. When does it run itself again? I'm trying to remember. Render.render scene. Prev time is equal to time.
I think I saw something. Can you scroll up to the start of that?
Yeah, request animation frame. So
Yeah,
request
so
animation.
that's being called, depending on the FPS, like maybe 60 times a second.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on your display.
So when it requests animation frame, will this entire function run every time before like the on pointer up condition? Does the on pointer up condition just get queued after this?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, once you get into the render loop, the whole thing needs to be processed before the browser can do next one. That makes JavaScript sometimes, a lot easier, but sometimes frustrating because you can't actually do true multi-threading.
That's fair, but that's actually really good for me because that means I don't have that. I don't have that issue. I think I might have had, because what's going to happen is the on pointer down and on pointer up will always run after a render loop, which means they will always be properly positioned.
Yeah.
Because the render loop is what's properly positioning them. Because inside of the render loop is when I call rollover group position, which fixes my position. Okay. Nice. Okay. So that's not something I have to worry about. Let me go back to the pseudocode. Save current mouse position. And call the build function. Alright, so as much as I might want to immediately jump into the build function, I need to get the rollover spread running. Save current mouse position. Rollover spread. If grid builder state is 1, use current mouse position and saved mouse position to build rollover mesh. Okay. If I'm just saving this as a vector 3. And this, and I need to only call rollover spread when the mouse position changes what grid square it's in. That way it's not calling it every single frame. So if you're staring at it and not moving, it's not rebuilding the mesh every frame. It should only build the box when it moves.
Technically, you could just do the same thing with the normal row, or just have it always there, just not visible? Or
Yeah.
basically the same thing. I mean, if anything, you could even modify the. Oh, actually, not.
So the always there but not visible would mean that I would need every square of it to be. Oh, I can stretch. I can stretch the box sides
Yeah.
because of it's a this. I don't even have to. Oh,
I mean, you would have to modify the geometry, which
it's
I don't know
not a.
how complicated it is.
It's not that bad. So it just means you have to call a update function after you update the geometry. Okay. I'm thinking. Hmm. I think I'm going to sit down and stare at this off stream and do like a decent amount of trying to work through this part in my head before I write the code down. I'm glad we cleaned the code up. I'm glad the rollover is back. But I'm either going to do this off stream or like tonight in about 5 hours when I'm live again. Because I am streaming again tonight. I did two today because I skipped that
I mean,
one.
here in Europe, it's really late anyway, so
Get some sleep, dude. Thank you for your help, man.
yeah, no problem. Bye.
See ya, everybody.